Hey everybody, how you guys doing? This is a rare occasion where we are 3 streams this week. So we had a community showcase on Monday. We had Tuesday, we had that Ender 5 Pro debut, which was awesome. And today, so it's Thursday for me and Thursday for us in the US, Friday for the guys I'm about to bring in. And it's super early. It's about 8:30 in the morning for these guys, and they are here and they're going to have a little fun with us tonight. We've been trying to get this going and together for about a month now and finding days, and we got everybody together, and this is going to be a really cool show. I just wanted to say hi, welcome, and if you're watching out there on YouTube, hi, and if you're watching on Facebook, this is the first time we're broadcasting also on Facebook. So I just, Jake from State Farm is in the house, Tony, Dubbed Out, Chris, Dave. If I missed somebody, hi. I just want to say hi to everybody. Thank you guys for jumping in early. I really appreciate it. And I know we're earlier than normal, but we wanted to get this in at a time that these guys could join us. I'm going to go through stuff real quick. This is basically a quick last minute Australian version of the community showcase. And I want to say I'm not going to be streaming Monday. So Monday, our plane doesn't get in and leave us enough time to get here to stream for Monday's community showcase. So I won't be here Monday, but we'll use this as a kind of a substitute, call it. I just wanted to thank my sponsors real quick of the show, TH3D. You guys rock, keep rocking, and we'll see you in a couple days at Murph. RPM designed Robbie Mack for the logos, for everything you see as far as graphics and logos on the channel. Thank you so much, Robbie Mack, and RPM Designs. StreamYard for giving us this platform to stream on. The platform just keeps getting better and better. If you have not checked out StreamYards, there's a description and a link below. Hit that button. It'll take you, and you can do a free trial. And actually, there's a free version of StreamYards too that you can use. If you have not used it, if you use my link, it'll just tell them, hey, he's sending people to you. Also, I wanted to thank Coex 3D for providing yet another discount for today. It's the same discount for Monday, but since it doesn't expire till this weekend, why don't we use it again? It's in the description below. If you want some Coex filament, there's a 15% discount for you. So without further ado, I have to say, hi, Bella. My niece is watching. I just got a text real quick, and she is 3, I believe, and she's watching on the other side with my sister, and she said she's trying to talk to me through the phone, which isn't going to work, but I thought I'd say hi. Without further ado, thank you guys all for being here, but ladies and gentlemen, Michael from Teaching Tech. How you doing, Michael?
Well, thanks, Jim. Good morning. Thank you for having me. Sorry, good evening for you.
I was just going to say good morning, and I wish, no, I don't wish it was morning, that I have to work all over again today. So how you been?
Yeah, quite well. It's school holidays, the end of which for me, so I'm feeling much more relaxed than usual. Had a lot more time on my hands to do the channel and spend time with my family. So yeah, right. One more term until the Christmas holidays.
Oh yeah. So you guys, what is the holiday for? Is it just like a holiday they give you, or how does that work?
Just to stop the kids from going insane. I think
Gotcha.
in the States, do you have one big summer holiday and then you go straight through elsewhere? Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah, we have like a summer holiday from June-ish to like August, right around there.
Okay. Well, we have 4 terms. So there's a big break at Christmas, and then there's 2-week breaks in between the others, just to keep things fresh for the kids.
Nice. I love it. So a lot of us watching have been fans of yours for a long time. And I love that you're sitting in the backdrop that you do all your videos in. It's cool for us to see.
It's because the rest of the room is covered in things. So if I spin the camera around, it doesn't look so glamorous.
I think we would all have the same problem.
Yep.
So those of us in the stream that might not know you, might not know where you're from, tell us, where can we find you, who you are, what you do?
Sure. My YouTube channel is Teaching Tech, and I am from just west of Sydney. I'm in the Blue Mountains, just west of Sydney in Australia.
Nice. And you just dropped a video about, 20 minutes ago, or maybe an hour ago, right around there. And it's about a linear advanced guide. And I can't wait to watch that. I was actually getting off work, coming home, and my phone dinged. I was like, oh, I don't have time.
Yeah, it's straightforward to follow, but yesterday when I was playing with the firmware, there was a bug in the newest version I was trying to use. So I spent the day chasing my tail, getting nowhere, and then I just went back to an older version and everything worked as you saw in the video. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, frustrating day, but it worked out all right in the end.
That seems to happen sometimes when we take perfectly good machines like we have behind you, and then we decide we're going to make videos and blow them up.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. I know, like I said, we've been talking for probably about a month here, just working on days and seeing when we could get going. And recently you said, hey, I'm on holiday. This week would be awesome. And so we got you, and I appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me, and thanks for your patience in waiting till I could line it up.
I'm not worried about it. Like I said, when we tested the other day, I had to get my fanboy out real quick because my friend Steve, I think he's watching now. He was pretty jealous that I didn't bring him into that and let him say hi to you. But I just made that up, but he probably is. No, he's like, you got to get a 3D printer. Or well, he showed me his. It's his fault that I'm into this. Yeah. And then he's like, but you have to check out this teaching tech. He has some really cool videos. And then that just, the sky went off. It went crazy. And so I think he's watching. So, hey, Steve. But
hi, Steve.
Yeah, there you go. I told him we were testing the other night, and I saw him today, and he's like, but cool. Well, I tell you what, let's bring in, let's do spin a quarter here. We have some really cool guests today. I think a couple of guys also from Australia, and I think we'll bring in Sam. Sam, I hope you're ready. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sam from 3D Printing Revolution. How you doing, Sam?
G'day, guys. How are you? Yeah, I'm great. I'm really stoked to be, involved in a stream of this caliber. You guys are awesome, and thanks for bringing me along. Yeah, I'm here. I've spent a bit of time setting up a bit of a backdrop. This is not what my place normally looks like, just to be honest. I put out some of my good pieces, and yeah, so I've got a channel on YouTube that I've just kicked off. I've got a Facebook page, which is where I've been directing most of my traffic for the last sort of 2 years. That's 3D Printing Revolution on Facey, and a web page. So I'm in the middle of URL torture at the moment, but it is actually 3dprintingrevolution.com.au. But when you get there, it's going to have a URL that says something about Shopify, blah blah blah. So yeah, just be aware of that. But it will eventually be all nice and tidy. And I'm trying to sell stuff that's good. So I've been looking at a lot of the mods that people get and do, and seeing what's popular, and I'm just testing stuff out, seeing what works well for me. And I'm trying to provide good quality support to people that are struggling with their 3D printers. Trying to save people money from buying things they don't need to. So the Luke Hatfield mod I've been recommending to a lot of people, and I've got my own little spin on that in the hot end, which is sort of a bit interesting. I won't go into it now, but yeah, look, I've been sort of just getting around the Facebook pages, just helping people at random, and yeah, I kind of really enjoy just giving that kind of help to people, and so I've decided to go all out and make a business of it. I also run a print farm, so doing print on demand, mostly for people in Australia, but I do ship overseas as well. Nice. And my online store is sort of a split store between selling prints, pre-printed sort of products, and yeah, and services. So it's something I'm building myself. So you sort of have to forgive my webpage for looking a little bit clunky at times, and not really having everything very clearly laid out, because I'm a bit of a scatterbrain. So yeah.
So we were talking last night. We did a test and had an awesome conversation. You actually taught me some cool stuff in Cura, but you sent me a picture, and I used it today in the promos.
Yeah, that was cool.
I see it hiding behind you. It's a monster T-Rex head.
Yeah, I'll grab it.
Yeah, let's check this out.
All right, I'll be deaf for a second.
Yeah. And while he's gone, I did see a question up here. 3D Jimmy said, Michael, what type of school do you
do? My school goes all the way from kinder through to year 12, which is the end of high school. And this current year, I only have one high school class. I mainly teach primary school, so STEAM classes: science, technology, engineering, art, maths.
Nice.
And here's what I prepared earlier as well.
Oh, sweet. So we got
It's
two.
bigger.
Yeah. I feel like I'm caught in the middle of two T-Rex fights here.
I went for 400%.
Okay, that's bigger. Mine's 300.
Nice.
The baby.
And
So
both
it was
of
a
them.
bit of a struggle getting the jaw on the bed. It's on there now, but I had to print it on a different orientation. So the bottom jaw is kind of printing on this angle rather than flat. So my T-Rex is 400 by 400 by 700. So I had that extra little bit of height where I could squeeze it in. What did you put on the S5?
CR10 Max. This was. I could have gone bigger. I was just trying to manage the filament because you use so much on a print this big.
Man, it's nuts, isn't it?
Yep.
They both look awesome. I need apparently I need to get a bigger printer so I can make one too, and then we can like have a war here, you know.
The
I've got to
novelty
get
is
a
good.
T-Rex to print the T-Rex.
So what does the support look like on those when you guys print them?
Mine fell over twice.
I don't think I used support for this one.
Oh wow!
It doesn't technically need it.
It attaches there, and that was it. I think I put a big brim on this one to make sure, and the jaw is across the bottom, both sides, and that it's a lot flatter, that one. So yeah, I didn't need it.
Yeah. Did you use infill, Michael? I didn't use infill either.
I did, just to give it just a little bit more structure, pretty low, like 4%, something like that, which looks a lot more dense on something this big. It seems more like 10%. But massive.
I like to use the zigzag support, but this time I just skipped it. So this is just two shells, 0.2 millimeter layer height. And I did just use a couple of manual supports just because I didn't want to run the risk of it tipping over at the end. And I knew that most of the people in the comments section on Thingiverse wouldn't have printed it at this scale. So I just thought, we'll take those recommendations with a grain of salt. And the hole here, obviously, you've probably got the same thing. There's a few doogies that spill into the middle of it, and you get a gap in the hole. So I think this weighs 1.2 kg. And I did my filament swap quite early on in the piece. So I swapped it when it was here, as you can sort of see.
Yep.
But I'm just stoked with the quality of those walls. Like they've come out so silky smooth.
Well, mine's the opposite. I had some shifts, and 3D Gloop have just sent me some of their products. So I'm planning a video where I kind of sand this, smooth it out, get it glossy, and then try some aging techniques, which is something I've seen on the internet and always wanted to try. So you put on like coffee stains, things like that, and you try and clean it off, but you don't clean off all of it, and it leaves little bits in the teeth and wherever else. It looks more like probably something dug out of the ground.
That'd be
cool.
So 3D Jimmy said, Sam, what part of the country are you in? Where are you from?
I'm just down the road from Michael, about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, in Wanji, which is kind of like a little tiny land penis in Lake Macquarie. It's like a little peninsula in the middle of the lake. Hardly anyone here. It's nice and quiet. And I wish there was more people that were interested in 3D printing in the area, that's for sure.
That's cool. It's really cool that we were talking a little bit. I'm just looking at the time here. We were talking a little bit about the skulls. I think I see some skulls back there too that you make, and you were showing me some stuff that you designed, and I thought that was pretty cool that you were making skulls and you made like the snail skull, and that was pretty sweet designs there.
Yeah.
Particularly good on Mesh Mixer, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do a lot of stuff in Mesh Mixer, and I'm doing stuff in Mesh Mixer that I absolutely should be doing in Fusion 360 as well. If you have a look at my slot car on Thingiverse, you'll be like, why the hell did you do a slot car shell in Mesh Mixer? And I had a friend actually draw up the basic shape of the slot car shell in Fusion 360 before I could do anything in Fusion. And then I made it fit the car and put in the supports and smoothed it and made it all nice in Mesh Mixer. But I've just got a little tiny hermit crab here to show you guys. So this is based off I originally made a snail shell with a skull for a shell, and then a lady in New Zealand, Rosemary, wanted a hermit crab with the skull. So I ended up using the shell. So this one here, it didn't print perfectly. The filament was a little bit damp, and I had a bit of stringing, but yeah, this is a nice little version of it, and all my big ones are actually sold, so I don't have one handy to show you guys. But yeah, I've done a Sknail, Sknail, if you want to look that up on Thingiverse out there, guys, and check it out. You should find me in my profile.
Nice.
And yeah, I do love Mesh Mixer. I think it's absolutely awesome. The stuff you can do in it. If you look at my Facebook live streams and dig through the crap, you'll find, pardon my language, you'll find some pretty helpful videos on Mesh Mixer. And I do plan on doing some more polished videos, but I'm just trying to find good software to record my screen. Everything I've been doing so far has just been using the Facebook live streams. And it's a bit sort of, I don't know, not the best format. I'd rather be doing a pre-recorded thing and do some good quality stuff like Michael does. You know, I've seen his edits and his, like, you know, between him and Angus from Maker's Muse, I learned a lot about Mesh Mixer and then just went all for it. So things like this skull, you know, hollowing it out, making the hole in there. So a lot of these designs, I've been really slack, guys. I haven't put them on Thingiverse yet, but I will, and they'll be all loaded up with a license that lets people sell them, because I'm all for making this an open community where we can all actually make a little bit of a crust. So things like, if you look at the original nose on the skull that I downloaded, part of it's like got a big weird hole, like it's not symmetrical. It's got a weird sort of a chunky right angle bit out of one nostril, which I fixed. I also flattened off the underside of there so you could print without support. So this is printed with no support, this one. And I also smoothed off the bottom so that it wouldn't be, there was just a few little bits that just made it trickier to print. So kind of made this an easy print version. There's my Z seam. But I'm pretty happy with the print quality that I'm getting out of these guys. I think this one was printed on my Ender 3 with a 0.4 mil nozzle in about 10 hours.
So I can tell you, Plasma had the idea. He just said what I was thinking. We got to put some LEDs in those eyes.
Oh, for sure, for sure. If you have a look at my Crazy Dave Scullophane, spelt like lithophane, on my Thingiverse account, you'll see I've actually put a lithophane in the back of a skull, and I've made a Veroni pattern behind that so that it's, you look through the eyes and you see the guy's face, you get right in there and you can actually see his whole face. It's quite fun. That was one of my earliest commission jobs, actually, which is really cool. Yeah, so yeah, love Mesh Mixer. I suck at Fusion 360. I'm learning it. I've been watching a lot of Lars Christensen videos at the moment to learn Fusion 360, because I know it's an important part of the kit. So I kind of thought Mesh Mixer was a great first program to use because it lets you do so much cool stuff so quickly. You know, you can take something that's already awesome and then you can, you know, chop the top off and stick a rectangle in it, build in difference, and you've got a business card holder. Or, you know, the just being able to mash two things together is so cool. I did a workshop at the local PCYC the other day, and the kids were primary school kids, man, and they just picked up Mesh Mixer like you wouldn't believe, and just got stuck into it and created some really cool stuff. Just with the standard bunny and the standard items in the Mesh Mix menu. You know, putting a goose's head on a bunny and a few things like that. Just, you know, they had a ball doing that, and I'm going to print them and post them out to them. So,
nice.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Well, there goes my alarm telling me that.
So somebody just asked me for the link to your Thingiverse. I'm not sure if I have that. I was just going to look. If you
I can provide that.
If you drop it in our chat on the side. Uh-oh. You know what? I think he accidentally closed the tab he had us on. So this is a perfect time to bring in Jaytee. Jaytee, how you doing today?
Good evening, Jim. Good morning, Michael, and thanks for having me on.
Welcome. Well, we'll bring him back in a few minutes. I bet you he said, "Oh, I'm going to go get that link," and then he closed. If you click anything in the tab we're in, you'll disappear.
Yeah.
So. Hey, so how you been? I know we talk on Twitter.
Yes, we do. That's pretty much mostly where I hang out. I am not as structured as some of the others that you have on your shows. I guess influences in. Well, I've got a VHS tape actually of some 3D printers from back in the day, very early on TV shows, and. Angus was doing a series of YouTube videos, which one of them was highlighting. We have a store here, Aldi, you might have it, and they sell 3D printers once a year. So for one day, once a year. And Angus had reviewed a particular model, and the following year I bought it. And the following year, I bought a couple more, and the collection is ever growing. There's a running joke on Twitter about my cardboard box collection, which is still populated somewhat. My recent cardboard box acquisition is indeed an S5. T-Rex skull in super large might be a thing.
Nice.
But my only skull to date is this bad boy, little.
Nice.
And I'll get that. It's white, of course. Let's see if I can move out the way. It's not going to work. It's a Scan the World model, and that's going to be terrible. Oh, sort of there.
That's good.
So that was an early print, and it's got the Scan the World legit hole in it. So when I posted these pics on Twitter, Angus actually said, "Oh, I see you've got the hole as well." And I said, "Yeah, it's a bit of a shame." And Scan the World happened to chime in, and within 30 minutes they'd fixed it. So, which is pretty cool. I've seen a 1.5 meter version of that Triceratops skull. College in, a museum in the US. So that's pretty neat. But yeah, so my I guess involvement in the 3D community is more of a social one. I don't do as much hands-on, as I say. I support a few folks, Patreon or otherwise. Michael happens to be one of those.
Thank you.
Because you put out fantastic content. I learn so much, even though I don't necessarily apply it day to day. I remember it, and I can pass that information on. Someone on Twitter says, "Oh, how do you do this?" And I'll say, either I know because I've absorbed it from somewhere else, or I direct to, the Michaels of the world, or the Tim Hooglins, or the whatever. It doesn't matter. But I guess I like solving problems, and I guess in the Tinkercad world, I'm probably best known for creating the perfect circle. Tinkercad is limited to 64 sides on a circle, and I was able to create a perfect circle, which the Tinkercad folks were pretty chuffed about. And again, problem solving is my deal.
Nice.
And of course, spending way too much time on Twitter in the wee hours of the Australian morning.
Yeah, I saw you posted that you were going to go to bed early because you had a show, and someone was up at 1 a.m.
Exactly. Well, 1 a.m. would be early normally.
So you also have a show. It's with that other guy. We'll call it.
Yes, it is. Ivan Miranda. You may know him as the crazy tank dude, Mr. Red Filament himself. He is indeed supported by me on Patreon. And after a year or so, I literally reached out and said, "Hey, if you want to chat for real, let me know." And after the first 2-hour Skype chat, and then the second 2-hour Skype chat, he said, "Let's do a podcast." That's his terminology for a live stream, and we've been doing it for a year. So it is literally Jaytee and that other guy, or Jaytog, Jatog.
Yeah.
So jtog.net will get you there, and we basically fill in an hour like two mates having a chat about stuff, and we're a little bit more structured now. We've got themes each week. We're part 2 of building a 3D printer from scratch at the moment. So next week I'll be firing questions at him, and the chat, and he will be answering. So nice. That's pretty much me. I'm an IT guy, as a lot of us are, software dev. So hardware's not my thing, but I can build a printer. I did in fact build an ANET A8 back in the day. Worked first go. I touched something, it didn't actually explode, so that's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're also in Australia?
Yes, Melbourne, Australia. So I'm more south, whereas Michael's middle of the way up, I guess. Yeah, that's middle-ish, Michael. Yeah, give or take.
Queensland, but yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What were you showing there, Michael, for a second?
I saw someone ask how my laser cutter was going. So
nice.
this is the first actual part I've done that I need off it, and it turned out pretty well. 6mm plywood, and it's for one of my patrons wanted to do a lowrider CNC, but he couldn't get access to the parts. So I said I had some leftover material, and I'd test it out and then send it to him. So that's my first cut.
Nice. I know when we were I think it was Tuesday when we were doing the Under 5 Pro, you popped in the chat and you're like, I'm here, but I'm across the room working on the laser. And that was, in my head, I'm like, awesome that you're here in chat. Thank you. On the other side of things, I was like, God, I wish I had a laser.
It's fun so far. I've wanted one for a long time and mucked around with a lot of diode ones, but I suppose I always wanted to do clear acrylic. You just can't do it on the diode. The wavelength goes straight through. So with the CO2 one, not a problem. So it'll be possibly my next video showing how to put in the Cohesion 3D main board, which is a big upgrade for what comes in the K40s. And I've just last night printed my upgrade panel to hold all the bits for that.
Nice. You play with lasers, Jaytee?
I considered getting one, but I live in an apartment, so I don't have a shop per se. So venting the fumes and extracting the particles is a problem. I've recently bought a vinyl cutter, a small one, a Cricut or Crycut, depending on Cricut. Yep, good. So that's actually been a little bit of fun. My wife works in childcare, so she's the art teacher. So I said, well, I've seen you cutting out letters manually. You're driving me insane. I want to smash the scissors out of your hand. So I bought the maker, and I printed out some templates for her so she can then still, for some reason, cuts out newspaper in the shape of the letters that we printed out. So I actually want to make some EVA foam tool inserts. So instead of like Kaizen foam doing it manually, I'm thinking about using the cutter blade to do some. Look, we all talk about making our shops pretty and organized and whatever. I'll never get there, but the dream is fun.
Right. So Tom, our 3D printing llama, said, Michael, it looks like you cut a hole right through the center of your table.
That's for the lowrider MPCNC, so I've got to have some clearance. I can't put the tables back together. But eventually I'd like to design a part that dovetails on and off for the belts, so I can hang the whole thing on a shelf, and then when I want to cut, it's back on. But I haven't got that far yet.
That's awesome. It would have been awesome if you had a laser big enough to cut that whole table. So in a minute here, I'm going to bring Sam back. Stephen the Lightspeed says, how come you don't have a live stream, Michael?
Internet in Australia is a bit of a joke. So, Jaytee, are you on the NBN yet?
No, because I run a company, I have 400 synchronous here. So I literally have fiber to my desk. So not a patch through to the apartment. I've got the fiber coming to my desk. So I pay heftily for such stuff, and I completely empathize with Michael. Angus, in fact, moved house to an area where the NBN or National Broadband Network had good internet. Michael doesn't necessarily have that flexibility or desire to do that, so he suffers like 99% of the country.
It's coming. They've been around my street, and it was meant to be in now, and it's been pushed back, which is what happens everywhere. But we're getting fiber to the curb, so I'm really hopeful that next year I have decent internet. I can start doing live streams.
Fiber to the curb would be great.
That's great. That is great. So I'm going to bring Sam back in so we can all talk here. Hey, Sam, how are you? You're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that.
So I should have probably mentioned, if you close the tab or the browser, you're gone.
I just clicked on Thingiverse and it jumped straight out of the thing. I was like, oops.
I've actually done that in a stream. I'm like, yeah, I'll get you that, and I click on the link in my favorites, and I'm gone.
It's all good. So yeah, I've just flicked through in the private chat there. I flicked through a couple of links. Hopefully they're the right links. They get you to my Thingiverse and my shop and a few other bits and pieces. So
I have those, I believe, in the description of the video below.
Awesome, man, legend.
There, the one I didn't think I had was the Thingiverse one. I dropped it in there, and 3D Jimmy said, "Sam, we thought the T-Rex came alive and ate you."
My daughters have been having some fun with that. I'm actually going to remodel that. I made a dragon headpiece for somebody very recently, and that turned out really nicely. So I'm actually going to do the same thing with the T-Rex, but I'm going to make it epically huge so that on my little tiny kids, they're going to be running around with this gigantic head, and I'm going to actually dome it out so that it's got a recess where it can fit down over their head. And the eyes will look through the eye sockets, and it's going to be a lot of fun with it. And I'm going to mechanize that jaw. I think I might use Emmett's gear bearing as the hinge. I think that'll be a lot of fun. So I'm going to grab Emmett's gear bearing off Thingiverse, and I'm going to mash that into, or at least make a socket for it in the jaw area. And I think that'll just be a really awesome little, for the fun of it, I love that gear bearing. It's so much fun.
I'd like to print that if you release it. That sounds good.
Yeah, sweet, man. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I don't know if I'll get it to print in place as part of the jaw or not. I'll give that a test. On the scale that we can print it at, I think we can get the clearances. If you're printing it small, it would obviously just fuse if you printed the gear bearing on the wrong orientation. But I think printing it big enough, I think we can get that to work. So that'd be a lot of fun. I've done some cool stuff with the gear bearing. Just talk amongst yourselves for a few seconds, and I'll grab something I want to show off.
Sounds good. I love it. Do you guys, Chris Gulata just had a really good point, and it didn't pop on this side yet. Will in a second, but he says, do you guys have any type of ERF or MRF, basically a rep or a 3D printing show or festival by you guys?
All right, so I'll jump in here. There's conversations going on currently with a couple of Melbourne guys. Making a Mess, who just left the chat, I think. Is one of them. Leo Cattle is his name. So there's three of us that are having a chat about how we can possibly do it. Angus has always said he's too busy to do it, but he would attend and assist in any way, shape or form that he could. It's hard because we're so, like we've got what are we now, 27 million people, I think, and we've got a land mass the same size as the continental US. Right? So you guys have got 320 odd million, and we're just so spread out. And as Sam said, the number of 3D printers, as in humans that are 3D printers, right, is not as large. It may be larger than we think, but a lot of them might be, just in their rooms doing their own thing. So it's going to be a long term thing. We would hope to get something up in the next 12 months, I imagine. Start small, like Murph. I went to Murph this year. I saw you there, Jim. We didn't say hi, I don't think, but you were too busy filming everything. Tripod here, the mic here, stuff it in someone's face. But I'm super enthusiastic about the technology and the community. I thought, well, my excuse is I don't drink and I don't smoke. Let me spend the money on some other vice, and that vice happened to be Murph. And I'll be going next year. I'm sort of spewing I couldn't go to Earth, but that's the breaks. It's an awfully long and expensive way. Yeah,
I remember seeing you. I think I was talking to Nerys or Chris.
Yeah, Chris. Yep.
And I was filming with him, and you guys came, walked through, and I was like, "There's Jaytee," but I couldn't catch it too.
Yeah.
So Sam, we just looked like a cell phone holder you were showing us. We jumped conversations while you went away for a second. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's cool. I thought I might as well show it off instead of standing there like a stuffed chook. So this is a phone holder that I've made. Again, I should get my ass into gear and put it on Thingiverse. Oh, man. Sorry. I spoke Australian for a second, and I'll try not to do that. It's a phone holder for doing stop animation movies. And the advantage this has over most phone holders is that it's really rigid. There's not a lot of wobble and wiggle in it. So when you're doing a stop motion video and you're tapping your phone screen to take photos, if you've got a normal phone holder, they just move over time. So this one's really good. It bounces back. And yeah, I just love using that gear bearing for that. You know, it's, this green bit all prints in one piece, and then the black bits are sort of add-ons for it.
Very
so
cool.
that's a pretty cool thing. So we'll get on to adding that to Thingiverse.
Nice.
So that's a pretty cool little bit of gear, and it printed out quite nicely. And that's the green is ABS, and I printed that on an open frame printer thanks to some tips from Michael. So that was pretty cool to be able to print such a a warpable sort of a thing and make it work. So thanks, Michael.
So I asked the chat a little while ago if we had any questions. So we did get some questions while we were talking here. Mr. Butcham, Ryan asks, what's the favorite filament to print with? How hard is it to get all the different 3D printing materials to Australia? Go ahead, Michael.
I think there's a few stores in Australia that have a pretty wide range. I'm lucky enough that I got a filament sponsor for my projects, and that's X3D, and they've got their own filaments, but they also get in all sorts of other ones. So a video coming up, I'm going to be testing a conductive filament, and I'm about to do a video on the Ender 5, which I've been building up on nylon, polycarbonate, ASA, all of those engineering ones.
Is that the enclosed Ender 5?
Yep.
Oh.
So that's X3D is just one place, and there's several others. So I think between them, I would say it's not too hard to get filament in Australia. Maybe the other guys can comment.
I've been trying to actually sell filament, and it's a hard market to get into because getting it cheap is the hard part. So at the moment, I'm relying on drop shipping, but it's so hard to compete with guys like 3D Phillies who put out awesome filament. And there's $22 or so a kilo. It's pretty cheap. It's great quality. Most of it's food grade. There's some that aren't. So I've been testing a few different brands. Sunlu's got a warehouse in Australia, and they ship it out at a reasonable price. But getting the fancy filaments, that's where it's hard. You're looking at glitter, you're looking at a lot of money. You're looking at the rainbow, you're looking at a lot of money.
Right.
It's quite tricky to get those fancier filaments in, but you straight up PLA, straight up ABS, it's pretty good. It's not too bad.
So Bernie 3D Prints had a question for Michael. She said, does your school only have 3D printers for the student to use because of your interest, or is it in all the schools out there?
So most high schools would definitely have them. A lot of the time, the teachers aren't hobbyists. They're not enthusiasts for 3D printing, like the people watching this stream and myself. So they'll pay about $2,000 for a very basic machine, but you're really paying for the customer support and the backup and things like that. So at school, we've got a Prusa Mark III. That was on my recommendation, and that works really well for us. We've also got a couple of 1HAL D7 resin printers. We have a unit where the kids design rings on CAD, and then we print them in blue cast, and we send them off to be investment cast. They come back in silver. Okay. So yeah, it's a bit strange. Like STEM is all the rage in Australian schools at the moment. So schools are just throwing money at things, and it would be extremely rare for a school to have an Ender 3 or anything that's popular in the community. They just wouldn't get things from overseas. They get local ones, and they cost a lot more.
Gotcha. Well, and I think it's good that they are throwing money at your STEAM or your STEM programs, because I think that's where we need to do better in the U.S. I really think that is a true story. It's starting to get into schools. When I did Milwaukee Maker Faire, I'm in Milwaukee in the USA here, or Wisconsin in the USA, the city of Milwaukee, right north of there is where I live. And there was a lot of kids that came through because I did a field trip day before Milwaukee Maker Faire opened. And they were like, hey, we just got a 3D printer, or when I get to this grade, they have a 3D printer at that school. And they were really excited about it. And I hope it becomes more prevalent here as well. That would be, it needs to, right?
Yeah. I think it comes down to volunteers a lot. Another one of my patrons, his name is Martin Piringer. He does robotics with high school students. I think it's his printer, his equipment, and he rocks up as a volunteer and puts in the time with them. And I know he's got a lot of things online for free. So planetary gear sets, similar to what Sam had, but more for combat. I can't remember if they're combat robots or not, but they're big things. And he uses engineering materials, and like that's an experience they probably wouldn't get without someone like him.
Yeah, that is it's phenomenal. I know Mr. Buttram asked earlier how the go-kart was going.
My one.
Yeah.
Haven't had time to do it in a while, but there's months warming up here at the moment, so maybe over Christmas I can take it out again.
Nice. And
go
ahead.
Sorry. Anyone who's been on my channel for a long time will know I was building up a mobility scooter to be a drifter. I'm hoping to find some time over Christmas to finish that off and put it on the channel again.
Nice. So, Jaytee.
Yes, sir.
Jaytee and the other guy. When is that on? I know I watch it while I'll be working, and I'll get the ding like, hey, they're live. So I'll go on. What?
We just turned to summertime, so the show starts midnight Australian time. So it's what now? 9 a.m. So it's plus 3 hours from now, plus 12 hours from now. So it's 15 hours from now on a Monday night for me. So Monday morning for you guys,
right?
But that's going to change again when Ivan's summertime stops, which I think is in the next couple of weeks. So there'll be another hour difference. So that means that the stream starts at 1 a.m. My time. No, that's 12 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Daylight something time. AEDT. No, Daylight Savings Time. So each Monday, except when Ivan's not, being contracted to save the world, we do our thing.
I love it.
He was pretty sad that he couldn't make it on, actually, but he would have tainted the Aussie flavour anyway.
Yeah. So now what I'll have to do is have a stream with him and some of the people from his side of the world too. Sure.
He's on CST. So the stream is, I think, 3 p.m. CET, Central European Time. Okay, I think it's something like that.
Nice. That's awesome. And then Sam, kind of going around with questions here.
Yeah, cool.
We were talking last night while we were testing. We had an awesome talk for about an hour, which was just great. You were talking about you go out and you kind of you teach kids as well. In your area where they'll have someone come in and teach them, and do they have school like printers in schools like Michael was saying in your area too?
Yes, they do. But what I found is a lot of the time, as Michael was saying, they spend a lot of money on the printer. But what they often don't realise is that they're not buying instant satisfaction like they think they are. So quite often it turns out to be harder than they thought, and the printers sort of tend to sit in the room. And I've spoken to a lot of kids that say that they do get to use the printers, and I've also spoken to a lot of kids that say that it just sits there and doesn't get used. So it's kind of a mixed batch. I actually brought the little Suway SW200. There, the one with the little skull on it, into my daughter's classroom the other day with the class next door came in and joined us as well. So we had two kindergarten classes in there, and they loved having a look at it, and they all got to take a little unicorn home that I'd printed up. Not all in the session, but I left the printer there for the kids for a day or three, and the teacher ran off a few prints as well. And yeah, I think that the things like the Ender 3, the Suway, little cheap printers is what they should be getting their money spent on, because they could have a few machines, and as long as they're getting it from someone that's going to give them support, then there's really no reason it shouldn't be a problem. It should be a problem to get those cheaper machines. You whack the Luke Hatfield mod on the hot end of an Ender 3, and it's pretty reliable. The same mod applies to the Suway. I've just recently had to do it on that as well.
Right.
It's basically got the same hot end, so you can imagine it's going to have the same problems. I think getting cheaper machines in. If you're a school teacher listening to this, consider getting 2 or 3 cheap printers instead of one expensive one, so that you've got more accessibility for your students. They're not that hard to use. You can get in touch with someone like myself that supports people. I've got a package that I sell to people if they just want to be basically spoon-fed 3D printing. So, you know, if you're interested in that, or say you've already bought your machine somewhere else, you know, and you're not getting the support you need, hit me up. I'm here for you. And there's a lot of other people in the community, but some people find that Facebook forums are a bit hard to kind of navigate because you don't know who to believe.
Right.
So, you know, I feel like maybe I'm one of the trustworthy guys.
So speaking of a trustworthy guy, I don't even know if I have this. I don't know if can I show the video you sent me?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, for sure.
Last night, I think with the Ender 3 and the drill.
I can't remember which one I said, but definitely show it.
So I gotta see if I can pull it up while we're talking. So you know, in your opinion, and anyone can take this one. I know on our side of the, you know, over here, and I think it's primarily globally, some people think we're going to get a printer, I'm going to pull out of the box, and it's going to be like a microwave. It's going to work when I push the buttons, and I'm going to come back in a little while, and I'm going to have something. I get a lot of return printers, actually, that literally I buy them so cheap, you know, because they got returned to Amazon. Amazon doesn't want to pay to return them to China. And so we get them really cheap. And then you open the box, and it literally has plastic on the stuff. You know, it looks like they opened the box and they said, this is a kit. Nope. They put it back and sent it back. And I think, do you think that will actually become a day when, you know, we'll have that, for lack of better term, microwave printer? We'll pull out of the box. You know, they're going to be basic to no maintenance. We'll tell it what to do. It'll print and walk away. What do you think, Michael?
Not anytime soon.
Not Jaytee. You don't think so?
No, not soon.
I agree with Jaytee there. It's a while away, but it's getting closer. It is incrementally getting better and better and better, but it's still a long way off.
Let's see.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I've tested the BQ Thunder and the I've forgotten the name. This thing, Astrobox, and it's got the one-click printing from My Mini Factory. So obviously it has to cater for every type of model. So if you send it a 3D Benchy, it adds support, and then you can't get the support off just the way it does it, because it's trying to account for people who know nothing about printing. So I think it's possible, but a company would have to see it as profitable to then put in the time to develop the software side and get all of that reliable and smart enough to know when it needs support and when it doesn't, and all the rest.
So I agree. I think it'll be a ways away. I just tried to share the screen. Did you guys all see that? Or did it on the screen? So I tried to share it, and I don't know if it's because we're running through YouTube or what, and it's a YouTube video. It's just flashing all crazy, so I can't share it. But I can tell you, when I hit play, you have a drill. It's connected to the knob of an Ender 3, and you're just like, whoa, on that turn knob. What are you doing?
Okay, so we wanted to change the E-steps, and we didn't want to muck around with the firmware because I didn't want to. There we go. So we've got a motor that's got a 2-to-1 gear ratio, so we had to double the E-steps, and then we had a 3-to-1 gearbox on the Bontech clone, so we had to triple the. So we did a lot of turning of the E-step knob, and I was literally there with my fingers going turn, 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 turn. I was like, oh man, this is just ridiculous. So it was actually faster for me to go and get the drill.
I go back here. The look on your face is like sheer excitement.
Oh man, I've been turning that knob by hand for 10 minutes leading up to that.
Wow, that's awesome.
Wait,
we're not doing this at home, kids. We're not doing this at home.
Look at that face. That's like you're loving it.
There's me blowing it to keep it cool. I was pretty worried about burning it out because it was my friend's printer, and I hope he's watching. Because yeah, that was funny and a bit of fun, and it worked. So I mean, don't not do it, but don't come crying to me if you blow your printer control board up.
So real quick, 247 Hinky. You can check out. It's in the description of the video if you want to see JT's YouTube channel. Otherwise, you can click on his. I believe if you click on his thumbnail, it'll take you to his channel as well. It should be JT and the other guy, I believe, is one of them. But yeah, you sent me that last night, and I was just dying. I was like, man, this is amazing. I've done some questionable things when I'm modifying printers just to see if it'll work. I've never shown the video of that thing, but that was awesome. A drill connected straight to it, and you're just hammering it.
It's important. You've got to have a flexible drive joining to it. So that was a little section of insulation off a power cable. split out so that it would wrap around it, and then just taped on. And yeah, it did the trick. I was following your guide exactly.
Yeah.
We literally had your video paused there where you're showing how to calculate the E-steps and change it on the Ender 3 with standard firmware, the newer firmware. All mine don't have that, so I didn't know about that feature. And if I didn't see your video showing it, we would have been mucking around, and I would have been watching one of Michael's videos about updating firmware and changing things in the EEPROM through Arduino IDE. But to be honest, at this stage, I'm a little bit sort of timid with firmware. I will definitely get onto that, but I've just been focusing on slicing, on mesh mixing, on just what shapes print well and what shapes don't, and how to orientate things and all that for the last 2 years. So nice. I haven't got that tech background. I've come from a sculpting, painting, drawing, teaching background. So that's sort of where I've come into this game, and I've been doing it for 2 years solid. It's literally all I've done in the last 2 years is print stuff. So, yeah.
I love it. So I could see the headlines now, the clickbait thumbnail with Michael and a drill on his Ender 3, and it says like, calibrate your E-steps the easy way, and then it says like TH3D firmware or something, the easy way. Oh man, that is phenomenal.
Please make sure your telephone is turned off.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's funny because the music I play in my intros and stuff like that is my wife's band, and it's funny how many people contact me and say, what's that music? What is it from? And then when you hear something like that, I always think about that. Like, hey, let's see. Do you guys know of a band called Brother? You ever heard of a band called Brother?
No.
That's so funny because they're from Australia and they come here and everyone loves them.
Oh, really? I'll have to check them out. Are they a metal band?
For lots of many years, they've been coming here. My wife is a big fan, and so every time they come, we go over and try to see them.
Yeah, cool.
It's actually pretty interesting because we follow some Scottish bands as well, and some Irish bands. And when you go over there, a lot of the people are like, no, we never heard of them. But over here, they're like, a big deal,
Yeah, I think a lot of Australian bands find that. They're famous elsewhere, but no one here knows about them.
Kind of like me.
But yeah, I love the intro music on your show. I reckon it's cool. I love a bit of metal myself. So I might have to get in touch with Parkway Drive or someone and see if they'll let me use their tunes. That's the hard part, finding good music that's royalty free, or that you can, get in touch directly with the band and say, hey, can you use this stuff? So you're lucky you put it on tap, man.
Yeah. The hard part is, and Michael can tell you, when we do anything that could be copyright, they'll strike us. And I was like, well, my wife is the one that wrote the music, so if they strike me, I guess I'll just like appeal or something because she's okay. But anyways, we dove now into music. All right, there's that. So what do we got here? Yeah, we got a few minutes left. So I'm going to start. Why don't we start with? Actually, we'll start with Sam. We'll go this way. What's coming up? What do you got cooking in the pipeline? And not only, but just kind of where can we find you? An overview. Who you are? Where can we find you?
Okay, so what's cooking is I'm getting very ready to do a competition. So it's going to be. I'm still working on the rules. Okay, I haven't got it completely figured out. But basically, it's going to be buy a sample of filament from my store, which puts you in a chance. You've got a 1 in 25 chance so far. That's the rules anyway, of winning a spool of filament. So that's the first part of the competition. And then part 2 is you print something with your sample and submit photos to me. And I haven't worked out exactly how I'll do it. Probably through my email. And then Michael's been kind enough to judge. So I was originally going to do it via likes on my Facebook page, but I've since realised it's really easy to cheat with that sort of thing, and I don't want someone that's just paid for likes winning the printer. So I've decided I'm going to get a judge, and I asked Michael, and he's kind enough to accept. So I'm going to be giving away one of these Sue SW200 printers. That's it there in the box. Depending on, I mean, I may not send that one out. I might just get one sent straight from the factory. But basically, that's one of them, and it's a nice little printer, similar to the Ender 2, I think it was. It was a cantilever design. It's got basically just the, where are you, printer there? It's just got the one upright and the small crossbar. But that thing is pumping out some really clean prints with beautiful layering, and it's cheap. You know, it's a very cheap machine. And you can tell when you look at it that some bits they've saved a bit of money, but then other bits it's great. You know, they've got really nice limit switches, a good extruder. And yeah, so I'm giving one of those away if I get at least 50 people in the competition. So only if I get 50 people. So if I don't, then it's just the filament prizes. But hopefully with this stream, you guys will all jump in on it. And to enter, you've just basically got to buy something off my store, either a printer, a 3D pen, or the filament sample. So that's basically going to be it. So yeah.
Very cool. Jaytee, how about you?
I've got a couple of things I'd like to do. Time is often an issue, and I keep telling people, "Oh, I'm going to try this or I'm going to try that." And a lot of what I do is experimental, which is obviously useful to some. There's one particular experiment I'm trying at the moment, which involves let's say body armor, but miniature. So I'm working on a concept that will make printing armor or G.I. Joe type sized parts a bit easier and a bit quicker. So I'm trying to get some thoughts together about that. I've been quizzing Mark Rhodes, another Aussie, about how to perhaps go about this idea. He likes the idea, and I'll see what I can do. No promises, but that's the current theory.
Nice. Anything? Do you know what your next topics are on Jaytee and the other guy, or do you guys?
Yeah, well, actually, we're doing part 2 of building a 3D printer from scratch this coming Monday. That'll probably be the end of that particular one. Ivan and I have just started working through a list of potential topics. So I don't know the run order of those just yet. But I typically post within 12 hours of the show what's happening. So the stream goes scheduled 12 hours before, but a lot of people miss notifications, and YouTube, Twitter, they're all hopeless at notifications. So
yeah. So and just so you guys know, you can always go back and watch the first half of that on Jaytee and the other guy on YouTube. So I believe the link is in the description below.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
No problem. Michael, how about you? I don't know if you can tell us anything that's coming up, or if you want to talk about the video you released today, anything and like that.
I'd say if you do have access to your firmware, you're happy to. You just got to change one line, uncomment something. The linear advance is worth having a look at for print quality. It's pretty straightforward to do. Coming up on the channel, I've always got way more ideas for videos than I have time. Yeah. But I'll be reviewing a range, I hope, of the cheaper resin printers. When I did that orange one, a lot of people said, how does it compare to this, that? So a few of those companies have contacted me since. So I'm hoping to be able to do a big comparison of all the resin printers. I think that'll answer a lot of people's questions. With the laser, hoping to do some more projects, kind of open source builds of things that people can follow along at home. And longer term, next year, I'm hoping to do a lot more community involvement and live streams and things like that. So I have registered a Twitter account. It's got one tweet so far, and I'm not really intending to use it until next year, but I'm hoping to naturally grow the channel and do a lot more of those type of things in future.
Nice. Very cool. And I think we know where we can find me right here on this channel. Things I got coming up, I have Earth this weekend. So I'm going to get off the stream here in a few minutes and continue packing. And then I'm going to try to bring some videos. I might even try to go live while we're there. We'll see. But I'll try to get some videos when we're done. I still have not edited the Milwaukee Maker Faire videos I took. So Maker Mashup, I'm sorry, I have not got to those yet. Like Michael said, I have way many more ideas than time to actually do them. So there's that. But if just before we get flying here, if you guys have not subscribed to anybody here, Teaching Tech, if you have not checked out Teaching Tech, check that out. He does some amazing videos. I mean, stuff that got a lot of us started, and he's definitely getting up in the subscribers you deserve. And I definitely congratulate you on over 80,000 now, Michael. So
yeah, 82 and a half, something like that.
Nice.
Thank you.
That's so cool. And Jaytee as well. If you guys haven't followed Jaytee or Sam as well, check them out. As well as anybody in the chat. If you see anybody in the chat and they have a channel, or like Maker's Mashup or Andrew S., any of those guys in the chat, click on their thumbnails, check out their channels, because there's so many people in the community that love to follow each other, and there's so many of us that get ideas from from each other. So, check that out. As Sam said, when I get to 5,000, we're giving away a TiVo Tarantula Pro, and we're just about, I don't have it up actually. I just looked, I thought I had it up. We're just about at 4,500. So once I get to 5,000, I'll hit that. I'll give away a bunch of stuff, but a TiVo Tarantula Pro is the big one, which is great. So hit that subscribe button if you have not done that already. And again, thank you so much. I know we're getting a little short on time, and we have some stuff to get flowing to here. But you guys hang out for a second. I just want to thank the sponsors again, TH3D. You guys rock. RPM Designs and Robbie Mack, thank you so much. StreamYard for giving us this platform. I hope you guys like StreamYard. What do you think of StreamYard? I know I think it was your first.
Yeah, this is quite good. I drive OBS when it's Ivan and myself, so I don't know what you're seeing from an admin or producer point of view, but it's pretty slick. It's working very well, and it seems to be the only other method of doing a multi-up cam like Google Hangouts. It was always just one, and whoever spoke next became the focus. Right. So StreamYard actually seems like worth looking at, and I will do so.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's
I'll be checking it out too.
Yeah, and I love that you can do this. We can bring up,
specific ones. Yeah, I was watching that.
And you can actually make banners like I can do this, stuff like that. So it is pretty cool. But anyways, check out that and Coax Filament, Coax 3D. There's a link in the description below for 15% off. So check them out. I think it's good till Saturday. Chris Gulata had one question before we fly, Michael. He said, ask Edge of Tech. I'm sorry. He asked Michael how long it took to build the second printer.
Oh, I was going for most of a day. So I'm on school holidays, so I could just do it from morning till afternoon. It does take longer when you're stopping to film things. Probably similar to a Prusa Mark III. So 5-6 hours, something like that. Maybe a little bit faster. There's not as many printed pieces that are all inside each other when you put them together, like on the extruder for that. Everything's more accessible. So maybe 4 or 5 hours if you're not filming and you're being efficient.
Got it. That's another one I want to play with. It looked like a pretty good printer, right?
It's my new favorite one, yeah. I'm going to add auto bed leveling to it. It comes with one of the clip-on sensors that you probe and save the grid. But I've got a spare Pinder probe from a Prusa Pinder probe, so I'm just investigating designing a mount and putting that on.
Nice. Well, thanks again, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming on. I know it's early for you guys, and I know we took a little bit of time to get this stream together, but thank you. Thank you guys for coming on, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you spending the time with us, and most of all, everybody in the chat. I hope you guys liked it in the chat. This is a lot of fun.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. Yeah, keen to do it again one day.
Hey, Anytime, let's do it. Maybe we'll try to make it like some sort of regular time at when we're on holiday or something.
Yeah, for sure. That was really great. Lovely to meet you guys in the flesh, or not the flesh, but actually talk face to face. And
Absolutely.
It's great.
Close enough. Well, you guys hang out right there. Chat, thank you so much. Thank you everybody for coming. I really appreciate it. I know this is the third stream this week, and you guys continue to show up. So thank you for doing that. I hope you guys all have a great night, and we will see you next time.